He kept saying...
I, of course, who doing my method in acting, sort of paused so long between lines. I thought, my God, Harris...
Don't do that. That's putting that's putting...
Never put good champagne on top of bad.
Well, we've got a better brand here. Dom Perignon.
I tell you,
What's this year been like? Marriages have their ups and downs. What's the most difficult thing about living with this man?
nothing, actually, because he enjoys everything that I enjoy. And we leave...
Well, go on.
and we... I never thought I'd enjoy marriage so much. It's just every day is something new, something exciting, something to remember.
Is that because he's so unpredictable and you don't know what's going to happen next? Or?
He's just so, I mean, he's so incredible with things like tonight. He just doesn't stop doing or giving. And he's the most generous man I've ever met in my life. And not just materially, but emotionally and just constantly giving of himself.
Well, we have a kind of plan that we worked out that, for instance, I've always had a great respect for women, right? I always thought that women had a certain place and equality in the world. Those who didn't demand it, didn't want it, therefore I treated them that way. You can't instruct, people who don't want to be instructed. And I found with Anne that she had her own independence, her own way of thinking, and that. So that I found with Anne that we had to make a marvelous compromise, a most exciting compromise, which was this, that if I wanted to do something, if I wanted to do something that she didn't want to do, then you're advised to compromise. In other words, I'll do what you don't want to do, and you do what I don't want to do, on 2 or 3 separate nights, whatever. Understand?
And that's the compromise you worked.
That's all wrong. That was the beginning. In other words, by saying, I want to go out tonight. You don't want to come with me, but if you come with me, I will make it up to you on another date. So you say to me, I owe you one. And I'm sorry, but you owe me one. Right? And therefore I will go along with her in something that I didn't want to do. But that reason, it sounded theoretically perfect, but it didn't really work, because it really meant that one of the two was going through an experience that they weren't actually enjoying, but they were doing it because we made a deal of compromisation.
Yeah.
So what we did was we worked out an idea or a pact through which I would make it interesting for her to do something that I wanted to do. So basically she didn't want to do it. And I would make it interesting for her to do it in that particular night.
Yeah.
So she wasn't doing it through compromisation, but she was doing it and she was taking an experience from it. The same way with her, she wanted to do something that I would hate doing, some kind of social thing that she wanted to go to, which I could rather hate. But I knew that if I prepared myself enough, I could go and do it and take something from it that normally I wouldn't go and take from.
So you worked out this compromise whereby you learned to enjoy the thing that you might not otherwise have been so keen on doing.
Of course, and take something, because
I think one of the things which
I was terribly antisocial. Sorry, darling, go on.
No, I just wanted to say was
That's compromisation.
The fact that we do something that the other doesn't particularly want to do, we also get tremendous pleasure in watching the other person doing something they want to do, Like if he wants to go somewhere and I don't particularly enjoy it, I get such incredible pleasure out of doing something for him. And tonight just shows it, just gets such pleasure out of just doing something that will make me happy and will give me pleasure. Tonight was just... You can't put words to it.
How many of your relatives are here tonight? Your mother, your father, your grandmother?
My sister,
your sister,
my aunt.
Grandmother.
About 5 of them.
Yeah.
Her grandmother.
And that's simple enough, but then when we get to the Irish clan, it's even more complicated.
All the brothers.
All my brothers.
There are 4 Harris brothers.
Right.
5 including you.
Right.
And who are all these other Harris kinsmen running
Well,
about?
there's some sons.
Wives. Nephews,
nieces, brother-in-laws. There's a marvelous man here who was the husband of my sister, who is dead. I know I wrote some of my great poetry about.
I read that.
And he's been a sort of prince, you know, to me, and to me, he's the sort of head of the family, you know, and for him not to be here would be a disaster.
So this is really a family affair as much as it is.
This is like
You see, what happened was they never really met because we had planned our wedding originally, and Annie was very clever. That the wedding, excuse me, I stutter a lot. You wouldn't know it in my movies, but I actually stutter.
I think we're both a little nervous from
tonight. I stutter when I'm tired or nervous. What happened was a wedding was planned for certain days, and then I got scared and backed out of it. But everybody was invited. And so Annie sussed it out and said, well, sussed meaning, in American terminology, I mean, what's this term? Unraveled it. And she thought the best thing for us to do there was not to plan it, just do it quick. So we did it very quickly. And then with her parents in America, we had a kind of reception for all her friends. So I thought it was about time that they met my family, all my family. It's only right, you know. I'm Harris and she's Turkel. So therefore all my family came from Ireland, and I invited all her family from New York. So we all met, they all know each other now.
And
they all know what a Rambalesian family I come from.
And your two sons by your previous marriage are here as well.
Of course. But of course, why should they be denied that? I mean,
well, I'm not suggesting that they should, but I was going to ask you how that has worked out, because of course that is a problem in many marriages where there are children.
I must say that we're very lucky.
Marriages.
We're very lucky because I have always had a theory. I despise bad divorces. I try to avoid bad divorces, and I am extremely fond of my ex-wife. Extremely fond of my ex-wife, and I wouldn't allow anybody to insult my ex-wife, because she's the mother of my 3 boys. And I was hoping this trip that my present wife, Anne, who's now the stepmother of my 3 boys, and my ex-wife, who's the mother, would kind of come friendly and so all get together. They've met, and they've become great friends, and so it's all kind of worked. I don't believe
that really is remarkable.
I find it horrendous, horrendous. See, what happens really in divorces are that, you know, my ex-wife and I tried to live together, even after we split up, and we couldn't do so. But you find that lawyers intervene, and they make it very difficult for the 2 parties to have any kind of compatible ground, you know, to negotiate. Even the introduction of the word negotiation is horrible. You know, when they want to negotiate. So one lawyer and the other lawyer fights, and the 2 other people are sort of pigeons. They're in between that. They don't want all that to happen. They want to make it an easy sort of departure from one's life, and they won't allow you to do that.
And at least on the basis of your experience, you found that you can maintain a cohesive family unit.
Well, afterwards, you see, after sort of the lawyers have taken their fees and found other divorcees to sort of to furnish the coffers, their coffers. You see, they can do that, but the important thing is that there are children, is to keep the sort of family units together, the boys together, and so forth.
How is it for you, Anne, suddenly becoming the stepmother of 3 boys?
3 grown boys.
3 grown boys.
Fabulous. First of all, I'm really...
Hey, you're not going to go. Okay. My sons are going for a pee.
I'm not really old enough to be a mother, so to be, you know, exactly, to be a mother type to the boys.
You're certainly not old enough to be the mother of a 16-year-old.
Exactly, so I'm really more of a sister to the 3 of them.
Yeah.
And we have a relationship like sister and brother.
Well, they treat her like a sister, yeah. She treats them like sort of brothers.
Like younger brothers.
Let me ask you another question that frequently arises. People say that
I can put it very succinctly to you. You can cooperate. You can compete. If you compete, you're finished. You cooperate. That's perfect.
And you've managed to cooperate.
Oh, totally. I wanted to become something very big.
We get such pleasure out of each other's accomplishments. I remember when I was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for my movie debut with Richard, I don't think anyone was more excited about it than he was. I mean, the first moment I found out, he said, "You've got to call your mother, call your father, call your grandmother, tell everybody." I mean, he really was more excited than I was about it. And when he does things, no one is more thrilled. I mean, I go around and collect all his movies and make scrapbooks and do this and that. He says, "Oh, what do you want all those things for?" And I said,
Do you know something very simply? Excuse me interrupting, Don. For a sec. You know what it is very simply? That we must realize that there is a great identity. Women have an identity in this world. Not just the old Victorian idea of having children and running a house, and the husband going to bordellos, which was the double standards they had in Victoriana, which is very prevalent in England now. It is respecting the other's individuality and giving to it. If you can give to that, the feedback is your own.
Well, Richard and Ann, we're going to be listening to you and looking at you all week on AM America, starting on Tuesday, talking about marriage, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of other questions that people will want to ask, and a lot of observations that you can make about a year's happy marriage, a marvelous party in London tonight. So, good luck, many more.
That was not an IRA
What was
bomb.
that? It sounded like a bomb.
Not an IRA
So some
bomb.
of your guests,
Not with
I
me here.
think.
Can I take a toast with you?
Are you going to have Are you going to finish up now with a real wing ding all night party, or
Well,
what happens now?
Well, no, Annie doesn't drink, you see, not smoke. Cigarettes, at it. And,
Or anything.
Or anything. So we have a sort of strange relationship, in which sometimes she says, she stands by me, and I say to her, "Annie, I feel that 2 days are coming up."
No, you never go 2 days. You spend 9. I've never,
Okay, I
I've
said
never
what?
even seen you go for a day.
Okay, for a day, half a day, coming on. She says, "Okay, I'll stay.
And
I'll stay with you."
You feel a 2 day coming on now, or 1 day, or
No.
But you're going to celebrate.
I may one day do it. I may one day. Also, she will feel that she's got something for 2 days that I may disapprove of, but I will reciprocate.
Well, let's.
But I know.
Well, of course, kid, I've made proper amount of money a couple of years, and I may sort of, why should I? So when do we start?